What's going on, everybody? How's it going, Discord community? Welcome back to episode 30 of Behind the Bench. I'm your host, Neil, Irish Flyers collector, here on Discord and on Instagram. So it's been quite a few weeks since I've been behind the mic here. Some of it was planned, some was unexpected, but I intentionally took some time off for the holidays and the new year. So speaking of which, happy 2026 to all of you. It was a busy time in the IFC household here, where we had family in visiting from Florida. So that kind of took away my studio guest room thing here. So that kind of took that away, made it a little more inconvenient. So during the break, I also made a trip up to, I think I talked about it, made a trip up to Buffalo to watch the Eagles game up there. And that was a fun experience, but holy hell did we get soaked. I mean, it literally rained from the moment we parked the car in the tailgate lot at noon, and basically didn't let up until later that night. Yeah, got drenched. Tested out the new hip, so that worked. It is tailgate tested and approved. So but it was a great time. Fun fans to go up and see a game and go to that stadium. And I'll be honest, I wished it was snow instead of rain. But that would have been so much more Buffalo than anything. So, but great time. Plus the Eagles won, thanks due in part to a slight overthrow. But yeah, so that was a fun experience being up there to go see that. So while all that time off that I had there was expected, then I did have an unfortunate situation come up on January 2nd. I woke up to a text from an extremely close friend, and that he shared that his wife, who was also one of my closest friends in a close friend group, she had passed overnight. And I won't go into details, but it's one of those instances that kind of shakes you. So, she was 47, very close friend of us, myself, and my wife. And then there's like 5 families, that are really close friends, where like all our kids all grew up together. We did activities and vacations and, beach trips, and the kids played sports or, went to school together, a lot of them. So, and we a lot of stuff over like 17 years or more, hanging out at each other's houses. So it was really something that kind of shook me a little bit. And that was, like I said, that was woke up on the 2nd, and I'd planned to do a show sometime during that weekend or early in the following week, but it was just one of those things where it just didn't feel like it, so my apologies for that to the viewers. But I know you can understand why. The extra break, I'll be honest, was a little refreshing. Kind of regrounding myself a bit for a few days. And it was funny, if you follow me on Instagram, it was a little what's the word? A little serendipitous, I guess. The day that I got the news, that was also what should have been like an amazing mail day, where I was really excited. I got a high gloss card come in, and it helped me complete a rainbow for my flagship Couturier cards from last year. And I was really excited about it, but that day it just kind of was like, a little bit of the wind was taken out of my sails, so to speak, and being so sad about the passing of our friend. So, but yeah, I use it as a good distraction for at least like a half hour to an hour of the day. And I don't know if irony is the right word, but the fact that a rainbow came, everybody talks about that people cross or keep. I think people use it more for pets, but the day that she passed, and I know she was big into those types of things like rainbows and whatnot. So, but anyway, so I used that as a distraction. And I did make a post that day because it did seem a little bit fitting at the moment. So, the day losing a friend like that. So, which, to be honest, I'll be honest, with all of it happening, it was a bit of a grounding and a good reminder that this hobby is, it is supposed to be like a getaway, and a distraction from the day to day. Maybe it shouldn't be top priority. So it was a little bit of a healthy grounding to help me get through a tough day for a little bit. So, sometimes you can get caught up in the hobby and all the hubbub and the chases of this and that type of stuff and the social media and this news and that news. And, it was a good reminder and like a little bit of a personal, check that, this is just a side gig, side hobby thing. So, um, it was like I said, I was grateful for the break. So, but outside of that, it was a good holiday break, and we had a good time, family, friends, and we still have more stuff coming up. So, but so yeah, so I appreciate the grace that I'm sure you all extend, and I've gotten messages from many people over the past couple weeks that noticed the comment and that I put in that post. So thank you for that. But while it has been a long time since I've done an episode, the last time I did mention that I wanted to introduce a bit of a new addition to topics and which I'll throw in every now and again. It's not a complete format change, so to speak. I'm still going to do stuff when an idea comes to me or a topic comes up that I want to talk about or share tips or stuff with you guys. I will. Um, but I came up with the idea of the concept or saw somebody post something about it where every now and again, I'd like to interview some fellow collectors, Discord members, to maybe help grow our community a little bit. Maybe ever get everybody closer together. Sometimes even just seeing somebody. We're all on Discord, and a lot of times you see a lot of the names, and you recognize the name, and you notice, oh, they're pretty funny, or they got a cool collection, or that type of stuff, and you create this image in your mind. But it gives also an opportunity to see the person and hear more about them and kind of take a little bit of the um, a deeper dive into who they are and whatnot. So I wanted to do this, and I reached out to a couple people ahead of time, and I'm going to be making some arrangements for others. But I'm happy to say that my first person that I'm going to bring on, my first guest, is somebody that I've become friends with in life and in the hobby because of the hobby. So I'm really happy that my first official guest, let me welcome him in here. I got Tory. Let me see. Is Tory in here? There's Tory. Hi, buddy. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
Good.
So Tory's my official first guest to do the interview. You're my subject matter.
Awesome.
But so you all know Tory as here on Discord and IG as Minnesota Sports Card Junkie. So thank you very much for coming in and willing to be my first victim.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Looked forward to it and happy to be here. So
Awesome. So, like I said, the purpose is to talk to other Discorders because, and I mentioned this to you even in texts and stuff like that, that sometimes I'm like, it's a grind, like coming up with new content. And, I thought that this would be good to get us to talk. And because it's a very casual environment and, where we're kind of just, we're already friends. So it is pretty easy.
right.
But talking to other Discorders, and it'll be fun for me to learn from people that I don't know as well yet.
Mhm.
But I want to dive into the passions that make people tick, And as always, we're talking hockey cards, those little pieces of cardboard that, for many of us hold these big stories. So, and I know you've got a lot. Like I said, we've definitely become friends from the shows and this show and Discord. So, but let's start kind of at the beginning. The one thing I found is it seems like no person seems to have a really unique story.
Right.
We're pretty much all the same, right?
Yep.
But do you remember how you first got into collecting hockey cards?
So hockey came later.
Mhm.
When I was a kid
Mhm.
in the 80s, it was baseball, obviously,
Okay.
and Kirby Puckett was kind of my first PC before I knew what a PC was. So
Yeah.
as a a young kid, teenager, just collecting baseball, Will Clark, Kirby Puckett, the goats of the 80s. That's
Mhm.
what started it, and then I got a little bit older. I got into college, and that's childish. I'm done with cards, and it pretty much was from that point on, like say 91, 92, I stopped buying cards, and I had gotten into hockey a little bit then because the North Stars were still here, obviously, and
Mhm.
I worked for the North Stars, so I got into hockey, getting cards signed at the rink. So I had a lot of Topps cards, and would get them signed when the teams would show up, and so that was more fun than to me it wasn't a collection, it was like a hobby, something to do, and I got the card, and then it just got stuck in a fire safe, and it never saw the light of day again. Kind of thing. But then I got into college and said, oh, I've got other priorities, and literally didn't look at cards again until, of course, COVID. And my son was sent home from college, and he was doing breaks with his business partner in our basement. And I'm like, I don't get it. What is a break? And so hockey wasn't even in my mind at that point. So I started doing the breaks with him. He'd have trouble filling spots. They were new. So there'd be a spot open for a while. I'm like, I'll take the spot, and so I got into football early.
You're like, oh, I'm in football now.
Yes. And very expensive, not a cheap one to get into. Breaks in general, are the thing they are. And that kind of segued into hockey. What got me back into hockey fully was one of the breaks I did. I hit a downtown Justin Herbert rookie card. I graded it. I got a PSA 10, $3,000-$4,000 card, and I'm like, I don't know it. Like it's not I like Justin Herbert, but I'm not into football. It's just I happen to get it, and I found a guy who had in Tampa who had a Connor McDavid Ultimate Signatures rookie RPA 9.5, and I'm like, do you want to trade just straight up? And he's like, I've been trying to sell this card down here for 4 years. I can't, no one even looks at it. He goes, done. So I got my first, big hockey card through a trade. And that kind of then refocused me to say, okay, I'm done with football. Now I'll just do hockey breaks, dummy, and I went full-fledged into hockey breaks. And thankfully in June, a lot of people know, kind of had my intervention with Josh and Phil on the show. And just out of curiosity before we, when we were talking about doing this, I relogged into Whatnot just to see when was the last time I bought something. It was July 2nd. So it was almost 6 months that I've been break free. So
you could help me. Yeah. You'd help me out with an episode right after you,
right after.
Like, oh, dollar box digging. And then I finally got around to doing the episode. You're like, well, I can talk about it, but I'm done doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just such an easy platform to get out of control that I just said, I've just got to delete it and walk away. And it was tough the first couple months, but
sure.
It helped me build not a collection, but an inventory of cards that I could use, that I've used over the last 6 months to sell, to get into cards I actually want. So if anything, their episode, really, it pulled me back down to earth on what I want to do as a collection. And it fine tuned it maybe too much. Like I'm so hyper focused on what I want now. I'm not buying a lot of stuff. I buy what I want when I want, but it has to fit the criteria of what I'm into. So, which is good. Like it helps me not every shiny thing needs to be in my collection, as much as I like it to be.
I think that, there's no wrong, like it's hobby gospel to me, but there's no wrong way to collect, but you can kind of, just you've got to find your own groove. And for some people, their groove is, I want as much as I want of all the good stuff. And that's great, And then there's people like myself who I'm just very rigid in my specific players, and I don't stray too much at all. So like, new releases come, and I'm like, okay, great, I love the new release. Are there my guys in it? Nope. All right, I'm out. So it doesn't mean that I'm not a hockey card collector. It doesn't mean I don't love the hobby, and doesn't mean that you've made some changes. And we all have our different strategies, and sometimes it takes time to evolve. Like I thought, when I got back into cards too myself, I kind of thought I knew what type of collector I was. It wasn't until like a year and a half later. So for you got back into cards, you were doing the same thing, and you kind of refound yourself. So kudos for that. So let me ask you, so would you define that as far as you being a hockey card collector, you solely doing that stuff now? You just have your old cards, but you're mainly hockey now?
Yeah. I've pretty much gotten rid of all the like the stuff I acquired through like the football breaks. I had like a big 4-row, and I put them up on Facebook Marketplace, and a guy bought everything I had from football, and the random soccer breaks I got into because I was bored, like just dumb. He gave me $400 for all of it, and I'm like, good, it's yours. The dumb thing of it is, for me, is he's a local guy. He sets up at shows. I bought back some of my cards. I'm going through the dollar bin. I'm like, God, this stuff is great. I hand it to him, and I look, and I go, I just bought back some of the cards I sold you. And he goes, oh yeah, you did. So I'm like, okay, dummy, but that's, it's kind of one of those things when you have so much and you don't look at it and understand what you have. And, and the PC also changed, when I
Mhm.
sold them the stuff, I wasn't collecting like Matthew Nyes, and there was Matthew Nyes rookie cards, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll grab those for the PC. Well, I had
Yeah.
them all along, so I bought them back at a good price. So
I'm older, smarter. So, but what about your old stuff from when you were a kid? You still have that stuff?
yeah, I have
That's
the
yeah.
baseball stuff.
I figured. I figured.
The funny story, like with Kirby Puckett, Louis is a big Kirby Puckett fan, and
Mhm.
I had a I think it was a Fleer, no, Topps, it was one of his more popular rookie cards, Topps rookie card of his, and we would go to the baseball games, and you could get on the bus from where I lived and go to downtown Minneapolis for like 50 cents round trip, and a
Mhm.
ticket to the Metrodome was $2.25. So you just bring a stack of cards with you, and one night, it was near the end of the season. It might have been the last home game. In fact, it was. The player parking lot. The players would come out an hour after the game, and
Mhm.
two quick stories about that. I had a bunch of cards, and Greg Gagne was kind of our star shortstop at the time, and he comes walking out, and my buddy and I go running over and hand him my card and signs, and there's another player standing there, and he's kind of like waiting to get his card to sign. And I'm like, okay, see ya. Well, it was the guy from Moneyball, Billy. The Oakland A's general manager. He played for the Twins. Had no clue
Oh,
who he
that's right.
was. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh God. Oh my God. It's one of my
yeah,
favorite sports movies.
yeah. I
Uh,
can't remember his last
I
name
can
now.
see. I can be Billy.
Yeah,
It's not blank. So
no,
my head is Billy Blank.
yeah,
Oh my God. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we'll
yeah.
come up with it.
So kind of waved at him and said, "Yeah, see you later." And years
Bean. Billy
later,
Bean.
Billy Bean. Yes,
Billy
yes.
Bean.
So my buddy and I still laugh about that. How we shunned Billy Bean at he was just called up, and so that same night we're walking to our bus stop, and Calvin Griffith, who was the owner of the Twins, and CEO, whatever title it was, comes walking out of the Vikings ticket booth, and he's got boxes full of like memorabilia, and he's like, "Boys, help an old man out." And we're like, "Okay," because he goes, "I'll take care of you." I'm like, "Oh, so he's gonna give us something, So we walk all of his stuff over to his Lincoln Town Car, loaded up, and he goes, "Okay, just go wait by that door," and then he drives away, and we're like, "What an a-hole! He just screwed us." Well, the door opens up and Kirby sticks his head out, and he's like trying to hide from from people, and he's like, "Oh no!" And we go, "It's just us." So he signed our cards, and as he's finishing up, we hear this crowd behind us go, "It's Kirby!" And you can see like 20 guys come running, and he looks at it, he goes, "Block for me," and he just takes off running. it was the best interaction, So I still have it, it's sitting in my safe, just for probably worth nothing, $10 card with a scribbled
It
autograph,
is
but it's got
now
a story. So
the memory is worth more
yep,
than that. So that's awesome.
yep.
So do you have the McDavid? You said that was your first big hockey card,
Yeah.
whatever. You still have that one?
Yep, still have it. It's the goal is to try to upgrade it someday. I brought it to Expo and I didn't
Mhm.
find any takers
Mhm.
that were interested. I mean, it would be obviously a trade in cash for me to upgrade to something.
Yeah.
No, it's in the $4,000 to $5,000 range.
Mhm.
Probably going up now because of how he's playing, but you have to find the person who's willing to downgrade and take some cash, and
Yeah. Yeah.
easier said than done.
For sure, yeah. But okay, so you've kind of dialed more into, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you've dialed more into hockey cards. So
Mhm.
what was it about hockey cards that hooked you? Was it the sport, or is it like, I mean, all cards have cool artwork or whatnot, but
Yeah.
the sport that you're more passionate about than other
Mhm.
sports, or was it something else?
No, the sport. Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
from my time working for the North Stars, and just following hockey. And then when they left, I dove into the Gophers. That was the only hockey we had on. After the North Stars left, is Gopher hockey. So started watching the Gophers a lot, and then
Mhm.
obviously the Wild came back, and it's just such a fun sport to watch. I mean, you can watch a baseball game and would rather watch paint dry some days, than watch a full baseball game. I know they've gotten better with the pitch clock and everything, but it's
Mhm.
just if you love what you're watching, you're gonna get into it a little bit more. And
Mhm.
obviously the Wild replacing the North Stars never truly, like, the North Stars are still in my soul, obviously.
Yep.
It's hard to let that go, so when I see like Dave and Phil wearing their little North Stars hats, I'm like, oh, it just drives me nuts. But to your point, like the artwork, hockey jerseys are just second to none compared to all
Mhm.
the other sports. I mean, the artwork, the different variations, seeing them, and then obviously some of I know pictures come up a lot on the show, like who's choosing the pictures, but there are some great photos too of players,
Yeah.
on cards. So it just kind of beyond the sport being my favorite, just the way the cards are set up, the jerseys, the images, just kind of a cool, cool hobby to be in.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with everything you said because hockey jerseys they beat everybody else's.
Yeah.
Footballs are kind of plain. Basketball, you can't wear them in public too much. I mean,
Right.
they're tank tops, and some people can, right? I
Yeah.
can't, but baseball jerseys. But yeah, they're all there. I agree that. But again, we're both biased and partial. So
Right. Exactly.
so let me try to think. So, was there ever a point where, I mean, obviously you've had the biggest shift. You kind of talked about your shift in collecting. It was just kind of, random all over the place and a little more frantic and also supportive of your son and his endeavor. I mean, that's a dad thing to do.
Yeah.
But then you got caught up in it. But so is that biggest shift kind of where you become more focused, more calculated, more, specific? Is that
Yeah.
probably what your biggest shift is? And do you feel that you feel better off with that, or is it a relief, like a little bit
Yeah.
more weight lifted off your shoulders?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it getting away from the braking side, and I'm not knocking braking. I know a lot of people like it.
Right.
I just let it get out of control, and
Mhm.
there was literally it was like seeing a squirrel. Oh, Oilers are available. I'll take them today. Maple Leafs are available. There was no rhyme or reason to why I was picking the teams I was picking, and very rarely ever bought Minnesota, ironically. But it was. I think that was where the greed side of the hobby. Like I want the big McDavid card. I want the big Gretzky. I want the big Matthews. So that part of it, kind of dumping that, both financially and when you don't hit, it sucks, especially when you spend $200-300 on a spot and you get a couple base cards or like a Ryan Nugent Hopkins auto, which I don't mind. He's a great player. I actually love Ryan Nugent Hopkins. So, but your ROI is nowhere near there, and it just got to the point where having Phil and Josh kind of step in. We talked it out. It allowed me the space to say, okay, what do I want to do? Kaprizov. I was always buying Kaprizov, but it allowed me to focus more on okay, I want to start to build a PC of Kaprizov cards, and I've gotten super picky of what Kaprizov cards I buy. Like I love platinum, and I love exquisite cards, and I love obviously like the SPA Future Watch, that kind of stuff. So what it's done is there's a lot of noise. Like there's a lot of everything. Hundreds of Kaprizov cards come out a year. Do I need them all? No. Do I want them all? Yeah. But if they fit what I like, which is platinum, patch autos from like exquisite, not necessarily the cup, but cup type cards. Obviously, you can get exquisite in other product, which is awesome. You don't have to spend cup prices to get them. And then the Future Watch stuff, just kind of being like the core. This is the core rookie card set I like. Not that it's other sets aren't right, but it's also allowed me to, when a card comes up that interests me that maybe isn't in my theme, I can go out and buy it. Now versus before, I was like, oh crap, I've got $800 in credit card bills I've got to pay off because of these stupid breaks, and I can't buy that card now. Now I'm kind of just like, yeah, you know what? Once or twice a month, I can buy a decent card. I sell a lot of the stuff I had stocked up over time on eBay, so I'm getting anywhere from $100 to $150 a week in eBay sales. So that becomes my fun money. At the end of the month, I go, okay, I've got $600. Let's go shop for a cool card and add to the PC. But yeah, it's definitely focused me a lot more. Maybe a little too hyper focused on what I'll buy. There's cool stuff out there that doesn't fit my mindset at the moment, but I'm starting to branch out and look for stuff. So,
well, it resonates with me a lot too, because for the longest time, obviously for me, everybody knows, and you know about me being a Couturier collector, but as a Flyers fan, there was this little void of star players that we had here. But I felt it with Michkov. Same thing like you with Kaprizov. Like, you want them all? Heck yeah, I do. But am I going to get them all? Hell no. You just can't. You can't keep pace, especially when they're rookies. And you're gonna, I can go back and with Couturier, dude. I mean, I'm getting some amazing cards. Sure. They are completely different players. But getting them at the prime right now when everybody wants it. You can go back with Kaprizov. You can go back and get some good cards. He's not too far from his rookie year, and that resonates with me too with regards to he actually was one that brought me back in a little bit, and it was a little I started getting back into things a little bit with COVID, and the friends started doing collecting, and then that helped me. It made me buy a box, like just the interest in it again. When I went to my parents and got my box of all my old stuff, I came home and I'm going through it, and it was just that sense of, oh, this is really cool, and I'm like, oh, what's everybody into right now? And it was like that. Oh, they're into this because of this guy. Great. I went to the local card shop, bought a box, opened the box, and boom, got the Kaprizov.
There you go.
And it was very. All right, so then I walked back in. I bought a second box. I'm like, oh, is this easy? And boom, boom. I'm like,
money.
That one didn't go so well. So I was like, lesson learned. But it was funny because Josh shared with me when we started talking. He's just like, dude, he's like, I bought like 6 boxes and never hit one. I was like, oh, sorry. So, but word to the wise though, when you talk to you're using your eBay, your old inventory, and you're selling it off, right?
Yeah.
So you have that little bit of that income coming in. Once that goes away, I'm gonna be future Tory.
Yep.
I'm telling you, instead of using the hobby to pay for the hobby, now you're going to transition once it's out. You're going to become just a hockey card acquirer because we get stingy with our cards. We want them in our collection. They're our precious cards.
Yeah.
And you don't have much income. You have a lot of outgo. So just let you know that's coming, buddy.
Oh yeah, I know. As I look, I've got like 1-2 row left of like because I ripped. Truth be told, like I rip a ton of platinum. I love platinum, and so I've got all these numbered and parallels and stuff, and but they're gonna run out eventually, and I'm not ripping boxes like I used to just because of the cost. The Celebrini tax. Platinum's already gone up. I think $30 or $40 over the past 6 weeks, which is great. For the hobby, at least because of how he's playing and stuff. But
the hype is great. The price tag is not.
No, the price tag's not. The hype is awesome. Yeah, I agree.
So drawing people back into it. Yeah. So obviously it's no. You talked about the obviously you being a Minnesota fan. And then there's no secret behind why you would collect Kaprizov. I mean, he's probably the biggest star you guys have had there since the Stars left.
Yep.
So that's not a big surprise there, but that's really cool because I do the same thing. I collect Michkov cards that are eye appealing because you can't get everything, like you said, right? And you can't get every single big card. You're just gonna go broke,
right?
But getting the ones that have that eye appeal, like for me, it was like, it's very clear for me. My favorite Kaprizov or Michkov card that I got was the Dark Matter from Skybox. It's just a cool looking card, but it's not going to break the bank. It's an insert,
Right.
So, but yeah, it's kind of cool. Like I let everybody else go spend the big money. I get some of the inserts. I'm the one buying the inserts from the cup. But you know what? I'm going to wait till next year and buy them. When the prices come down. The etchings is really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll grab a logo marks or whatever. But yeah, there's so many cool cards, and you just smart, calculated, and have some sort of a direction. I think it's a great suggestion there, or great process that you've established. So
right, yeah, thanks.
What it's hard now. It's funny. I've had this question. It's kind of hard to quantify it because the key word, can be defined differently. But what is the most valuable card that you feel that you have, and like why is it so special? So if you determine value dollar signs, or do you determine value in most important to you? So it can go either way. So it's up to you. But
Sure.
what do you think is like your most valuable card to you?
So it's 2, and it's the Kaprizov Future Watch and Future Watch Patch Auto. I just love them as a pair, and they've got value, obviously, but to me, the Future Watch is kind of like the true rookie autograph. That in my opinion, it doesn't mean I'm right, but so I kind of like that as the cornerstone of my collection with the players I do collect. So I mean, I've got Kaprizov, but I also collect like Matt Boldy. Obviously he's
Mm-hmm.
playing unbelievably. So having them as a pair has been really cool. But then I also collect some of the Gopher alumni, so Faber, Nyes, Cooley. So I've
Mm-hmm.
got their Future Watch autos. So
Mm-hmm.
it's become kind of my like that's the cornerstone of my autograph collection is a Future Watch. So for the the one or two I treasure the most, whether they stay at value or go down, it would be the Kaprizov pair. I just
Mm-hmm.
love them. Yeah.
You think you would ever sell those or get rid of them, or they kind of priceless? They're locked in. That's it.
They're locked in. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Welcome to hockey card
I
collecting
know.
101,
I
folks.
know. It's
Once
so
we
hard for
get
me
it.
to let go of bigger cards, like because
Mhm.
I get emotionally attached to them. Like if the patch is cool, like even if it's a $20 card that
Mhm.
goes up to 40, and I should just I can get another one, sure, but
Mhm.
you look at the patch, I'm like, I'll never find a patch that looks like that again. I'll get a napkin or
Right.
I'll get a 2-color and it should be a 3. Like so
Mhm.
I'm horrible at that aspect. When it's in the PC, it kind of stays there. When it's like a fringe guy,
Mhm.
I don't mind moving them. I mean, I
Sure.
sold 3 McDavid autographs at Expo in November. Could have cared less. They're great, but
Yeah.
he's just not my focus.
Mhm.
But yeah, the PC guys, it's very hard to pull away,
Yeah,
pull them out
he's
of my
fun to
collection.
get. He's fun to get, sure, but yeah, you
Sure.
get these PC guys, and it's funny like that. Like, let somebody else because there's actually on the back end of things. Obviously, the money coming in feels great when you're getting,
Right.
selling a card. But it's funny. I haven't done it in a while because it got to be so much work. But working with John
Mm.
CBJ, high gloss CBJ,
Yep.
like he was talking about, it became a burden on me trying to sell cards and just inserts and whatnot, and
Yep.
it took me so much time, but he showed me how, and I'm still working on learning how to. I felt it like a duty. Where I'm getting at is, I felt it was like a duty for me. Like if there's a card that's an insert or something like that, like I wanted to put it into a collector's hands
Right.
that
Yep.
collects that player. I wanted to get, I don't need this card. This will be better off in somebody else's hands. And
Yeah.
I'm not pricing them super high because but like you said, you can $100, and I forget what he's doing, but he's doing sales every day, and
Yeah.
that's a
He's
grind.
doing very well.
He's in a unique situation because he
Yeah.
has the ability where I think his wife or girlfriend wife does the cards the shipping for him, so
Yeah.
he's a little lucky there.
That helps.
Lucky,
Yeah.
you're lucky, CBJ.
Yep.
But I think we do feel that a little emotional attachment, like it's our duty to get these cards to somebody else
Yeah.
that'll appreciate them once we get them. If it's either not your PC and not your hard, concrete or hardcore players, you want to get rid of them and give them
Yep.
to somebody else that'll appreciate it. So,
For sure.
yeah.
Yep.
Is there it's the term's overused, but I only want to use it because of the it makes sense. But is there a Grail card that you've been chasing for a long time? For obviously I've had stuff, but do you have any? Doesn't have to be iconic, like, oh, I want this, but like
Yeah.
something you've been chasing for a long time, or is there a Grail that you want?
I want a Gretzky rookie. I want to
Mhm.
slap, a graded Gretzky, and it's one of those things like I'm not going to say the price doesn't matter. It does, but where I'm looking is like in that 4, 5, 6, PSA 4, 5, 6 range with the right look to me. Like
O-Pee-Chee or tops or both?
I'd probably do tops. I get like if O-Pee-Chee came up, it's just I'm more of a tops guy. I get the rough cut. Some people like it. I don't necessarily like it, but
Mhm.
if it came up, I'd be interested. But I've not found one that fits that kind of like, okay, that looks really good. It's not. Some of them are way too off centered, or the oil drops, not right, and so I've been
Mhm.
a little more picky. Like I just want the right one, and I didn't do a lot of shopping at Expo for that, just because I kind of thought these are going to be the few tables I did look at were like grossly overpriced, and
Mhm.
I noticed that maybe was a shift this year at Expo was dealer prices were much higher than comps,
Mhm.
and I get it. You've got a lot of inventory, but some of them weren't even willing to talk, and so I kind of just got bullish on walking around going, oh, there's another Gretzky that's $600 more than it should be. I don't even want to ask you for will you work with me, but
Mhm.
that would be one I would be looking for. And I know there's hundreds. I just got to dial in and start to focus on that. That should be my goal for this year is to get one. And I think you can get them in the $1,000 to $2,000 range pretty consistently,
Mhm.
depending on what you're looking for. So right now that would be one. And then I mean, if I had unlimited funds, I'd want a McDavid Future Watch patch auto, the
Okay.
ones out of 100, but that'll never happen. So unless I hit the lottery. But yeah,
exactly.
that'd be up there. But like for my PC, like I feel like I have the grails I want right now, which is kind of cool because it's not giving me the FOMO to go, oh, I need that. You know, I have the ones that I really wanted. Obviously, I'm still looking for an acetate young gun of Kaprizov. I don't have one of those.
Okay.
That would be a PC grail.
What's your, speaking of that, I don't want to interrupt, but
yeah,
what's your theory on the acetate numbers?
I want to say like 10 to 20.
Really?
You know,
Okay.
20,
Right.
20 tops.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
I just asked because you talked about it. It's one of those fun things to talk about.
As far as, I mean, I think I was watching, what was it, on Friday when Phil said he had now a 16 Brady Tkachuk acetate young gun. So we know there's more than 10. You know,
gotta love him. God love him. I think he said, though, didn't he count with the Brady's? Didn't he say he counted, like he knows of 22 of them?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But he had six. He has 16 of the. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, that's what he said on Friday. His 6th, because he was. I think he was doing mail day, or it came up and he pulled it out and said, "This is my 16th acetate." So,
I mean,
so maybe 25 is right. You know, the 3 just have never been pulled, and you know, so.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, okay. Sorry, you were didn't mean to segue there, but
no, that's good.
So yeah, okay. So your grails is obviously with the McDavid, that's money, and Gretzky, it's very attainable. You know, that's it's not unattainable,
right?
And I get it. I understand the tops first because being an American, that's what we had.
That's all we had.
And you know, no offense, they're a nicer card. I've got them both. I have them both. And that was my grail chase,
right?
When I got back into it, and I was the same way. It took my time, you know. It had to be slabbed first of all, but it took my time, was selective, and it was just kind of, what's that phrase, kismet or whatever, where I bought the one at the National, and then I bought the other one at my first expo. So, you know, I got the tops one at the National, the O-Pee-Chee one at the expo. I was like, that's fitting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's selective, and you just find the one that speaks to you, and you get the prices working. But yeah, you'll get one. Trust me. I'll, like I said, if we get time to walk the floor, I'd love to do that with you, because
that'd be fun.
The one thing that's nice is there's not a shortage of them up there.
No, exactly. There was a lot.
There's a shortage of tops up there. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's a shortage of tops up there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you know, maybe the tip is, if you go, I don't know how convenient it is for you to get to and from Chicago, but if you go to the National, you know, I went with friends in 2022.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was my goal. I was like, I'm going to that show and I'm going to walk away with a Gretzky, if anything. You know, I bought some other small stuff, but as big as the National is, the nice thing is that card, the Gretzky, is so iconic and you know, catches your eye. You can walk the floor quick, because they are in certain cases, and you're not looking for just hockey collectors. You're looking for, you know, so that's where I got mine. So I got a good tops one there, and the price is not as premium as I think it is in Canada. So I bought mine pretty. It's pretty where I've seen the value. I haven't followed the value at all, but it's just kind of funny where what I bought for it versus the value what it's at today. In the U.S., it's so much easier. So maybe there's your little journey. So, we all do things different collecting. We talked about it before we came on, as far as card protection and whatnot, for a degree. What's Tory's way to store or kind of display? How do you collect, and how do you hobby? Are you a TLBG guy? Are you a card in a box guy? I mean,
card in a box guy.
Are you binder? Okay, thank God. Thank you.
I will not be wearing a big necklace that says TLBG. So.
Yeah, but do you still do the old school binders like when we were kids, or is it,
no,
you don't collect anything that low end to do that?
I mean, I've got my hockey and baseball binders of the stuff I've not gotten rid of.
Old stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like all the 91, 92, Lindros rookies, and all the old 90s, early 90s hockey is I just haven't taken them out of a binder. They're there. and I'm not knocking top loader binders, but I
Mhm.
like to look at the back of cards, and it drove
Mhm.
me crazy. And just reorganizing. I
Mhm.
tried it. I gave it a valiant effort, and I got stuff in there, and then I went, crap, I don't like this one there. Move it.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
I ended up restarting the whole thing. But and people say, why do you need to look at the back of the cards? Well, why do they have a back then? If I like to look at stats. I
Yeah.
like to look at the year, like which set was this from? You got to take it out. I just couldn't do it. So
Yeah.
I've got the BCW, the hard shell, with the little snaps on it and opens up, and
The
you've
bin.
got the dividers, and so I can break in my
Mhm.
my cards that I've got a big floor safe that I put all my good stuff in, just to
Mhm.
keep it locked up, and then short prints and like platinum numbered Capri Softs, they're 10, 20, $30 card. I've got those in my hard case, or my
Mhm.
hard box, that I can go through. But it's easy for me to pop in and look quickly through my Capri Softs. Do I have that one yet? Because you always forget. You look on eBay and you're like, oh, that card's shiny and cool. I want it. And then you go, crap, I've got two of them already. And I'm not a guy who duplicates. I have nothing against it. I just,
Mhm.
if I have one seismic gold from 24, 25 Capri Soft, I don't need another one. That's
Right.
just me. So
Right. Yeah, no, I did the same thing with you. I had everything. So I do, um when I get base cards, people, how people give you cards and stuff like that.
yeah,
I still keep all my flyers, um the ones that I don't PC.
yep,
I still have all those base cards, and I've got like 8 of the binders, the old school binders. So I'm still buying, like, as
sure,
it's natural to me. I remember sitting on my bed as a kid,
yeah,
um, you know, crisscross applesauce and just boom, 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 putting
yep,
cards in there. And then when I got back into things, I started buying the big white craft boxes or
yeah,
whatever, the BCWs. I did that, and I did the same thing. I transferred over to the BCW bin, the
yep,
hard shell one, which is great because the doors fold over and
yeah,
under it, which I didn't know that for like the first 2
yeah.
months.
Same.
But, as long as you put that piece of duct tape across the bottom of it,
Right. So that
right?
the
So
cards,
they don't
yep,
slide because it's
yep,
plastic on plastic. So that little
right.
piece of duct tape across the bottom helped, um, so they don't slide. But that was great, and I love those bins. And then, so you keep them in, top loaders, did I say? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
or one touches? Yeah.
Yeah. Top
Valuable ones,
loaders.
one touch, I guess, right?
Yeah. The bigger cards that aren't slabbed, I put in one touches.
Mhm,
I just like the way they look. So I
mhm,
use Pro Mold. It
mhm,
was always kind of my go-to. And then I used Pay there a little bit, but I'm back to
mhm.
Pro Mold. They've updated their fourth gen doesn't have a magnet. It has like 2 friction pins. So it slides together. It doesn't pull apart.
Okay.
You really have to pull on it, but
Mhm,
I just like the way they, like the stuff I'm not going to grade, and I'm a grader, and I'm very picky. Like I
mhm,
probably reject 90% of what I'll consider grading, because I'm not going to
mhm,
waste my money on and get an 8. As snobbish as that sounds, I want 10s.
mhm.
Um, that's just me. So I'll
Everybody
either
wants
buy
a
a
perfect
10.
card.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it 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 it's not a money thing. It's more of like a psychological thing. Like I either don't want this graded, or I want it to be a 10, because I don't want a
Mhm,
9. I don't want an 8. And there's
mhm.
nothing wrong with 8s and 9s, but it's just, to me, I'm not going to spend the money to get cards graded to get an 8. I'm
Right.
just not. And if I know it's going to get an 8, I'm not going to grade it. So
Yeah.
so they go into one touch, and depending on the value, they either go in the safe, or I've got my PC rows with one touches as well. So
Mhm.
just depends on the value, is when I kind of go, okay, that's a one touch. Like all my Hall of Fame autographs, I put in one touches, and they're
Yeah.
not expensive by any means. I mean, you can
Mhm.
get some of them for $5, $10, and
Yeah.
um, I keep them, try to keep them in the same theme of all one touched up. So they're in a row of, with all the other Hall of Fame autographs, all one touched, and whatnot. So
Yeah, that's we are all quirky like that, Tory, right? We're
very,
all like, "Oh, that doesn't fit this, and I gotta make sure these are all like this, and they're the same size this, and you didn't
yep,
like where this card fit on the top loader binder." But, so everything else is top loaders, though, that's
yeah,
lower end, that your PC, but you're
yep,
like, "I love the card, I just don't need it in anything special."
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
that's the way
yep,
I am. I don't grade as much, I don't care, because, again, my old days was the same day or same
yeah,
way. Grading didn't exist, so,
right, right,
um so it didn't, but I would be the same way as you. I'm like, you get a card back, you're like, darn it, 9, crack,
yep,
crack.
crack it out.
So, so that's talking about how you protect them and how you store them and what your nuances. Do you ever have a scare? with a card where it gets damaged, or did you ever lose a card? Be like, ah.
No, I mean, it's other than like one touch is failing. I've had that happen a few times, but having the organization of here's my Kaprizov sections of a 4-row. I kind of mentally know which are in the safe and which are in the box. So the fun thing with the box is when you go through it every now and then, you forget what you've got, and you're like, oh yeah, this maybe should go on one touch, or one touch now, because this is really cool looking. It doesn't go up in value, but you look at it and you go, why didn't I one touch this one? So it's kind of fun to go back through stuff every now and then. And I kind of like on Saturday nights, that's what I do, is I pop things open. I just thumb through, like, haven't looked at you in a while. I've got my Kaprizov section. I have my Oilers section. So like all my McDavid, Gretzky, Dreisaitl's, and they're not spendy cards. It's like the Parker stuff, like the bubblegum backs, just cool stuff. So it's kind of fun to go back and look and go, gosh, I forgot I had this,
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that. Every now and again, reconnect with your collection. I think I talked about that once, but reconnect with your collection. Just go through them and sit there and flip through them. I think that's fun too. And it's, again, like you said, like to pull out and hold it and look at the back, just like I did when I look at the back and go from there. So do you do any other than cards you're looking to get? You don't actively on trading. You're just basically you go to a lot of shows in Minnesota, or is it not? Is it like the typical U.S. environment?
Yeah, it's kind of typical U.S. So there's a card shop in the city is called Triple Diamond that has started a monthly or bi-monthly, every other month show, and then they do a twice a year, kind of like a national, like an expo size show, which is they've got 500-600 tables. The bigger show, the twice a year show in the spring, more hockey guys seem to show up. Like there's actual tables full of hockey. But typically in the monthly shows, you've got one person who maybe has 20 hockey cards, or you find a guy who's who went nuts on breaks and he has a table full of just everything. Like the dollar bin stuff is great. I think I sent you a picture from one of a Couturier autograph, and you'd already had it, and just random dollar bin box kind of, or value box kind of stuff. But yeah, the shows here are brutal, and getting worse with Pokemon, and I'm not knocking Pokemon, but it's just not, I don't get it. I don't know which characters are cool. Like it seems like it's all different depending. So yeah, that's where like going to the expo, it's almost like war chest, save up. Every now and then I'll go and I'll bring some stuff, finding people to trade though, because it's collector dealers. It's not truly dealers at a lot of these tables. Like the hockey game is a collector like us who's just trying to sell stuff. He's not necessarily looking to, I want to upgrade the inventory for my shop. It's his personal collection. He's just moving. So it's hard to trade with people like that unless you have something they want, that's going to fit their PC. And I've kind of stopped going to the monthly shows just because they're just not worth it.
Yeah, the being a U.S. collector, like I said, it was the longest time. The expo ruined me, dude.
Yeah,
I swear, the expo ruined me. I used to go to the Philly show twice a year. They had a bunch of them. I think they do it 3 times a year, but I used to go 2 times a year at minimum. And I went to the expo, and I went to the national, and then I went to the expo, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going again.
Yeah.
But then I did it out of boredom. It was nostalgic to walk the floor. And go, like you said, maybe once a year, go to one of them. So, but yeah, I get it. I hear that. So, have you done any like in-person trades with people like we met on through communities? I've done that before. People reached out to me from Discord or my Instagram. You ever do anything like that? Like a in-person trade?
Yeah, there's a guy locally here that is kind of one of my LCS like hangout guys. Like he's always, on a Friday night you go up there, and our LCS, they've got 2 stores now. They set it up very much like a sports bar. So they've got big screen TVs, they've got chairs. You can rip cards. They give you all the supplies. So it kind of becomes like Cheers in a sense. You go in on a Friday night, and I'm not a drinker, per se. But you can go, hang out with people with the same mindset. So I kind of, forged a relationship with him, and he's a big wild guy, and he loves, anything from low to high end. So we've done some trades, and I'll say, hey, Steve, here's some cards I'm going to post on eBay. Do you want to look at any of them? And he'll be like, yeah, I want this, this, and this. And then we just meet up, every now and then, and he might trade me a card or, pay some cash. But other than that, there's just not a lot of like trying to find the hockey guys. Even in Minnesota is a little bit tough. I'm on my card post, love it and hate it at the same time. Like I'll put a card up for trade and I'll get offers of here's 20, your card's worth $1,000. Here's 20 $50 cards I want to give you. Deal. I'm like, no, I don't want, like I want a 1-for-1 or a 2-for-1. Like I don't want 20 $50 cards for a $1,000 card. I'm not being snobbish, but I've got to now deal with these 20 cards that I don't want. And you get the card you want. Like it's got to work.
It's a fantasy football trade. It's a fantasy football trade. I'm going to give you three mid players for this superstar. No, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work that way. No. So I haven't done well. I've done the trade nights at Expo. I've done more trades at Expo than I've done anywhere else. And that isn't even huge. It's maybe 1 or 2 an Expo kind of thing, and not much high end. Lower stuff, $40, $50 card trades, but it's fun. Like being able to look at personal like collections, a collector hobbyist like us, it's easier to do those trades than I think with dealers who are thinking more. The money's more important to me than the card, and I think with collectors at like trade night, you're dealing with people who are more passionate about the hobby and what they're trying to collect. And you know what? Maybe your card's worth 700 and mine's worth 900. I'm good with that trade because I want that card. So I like that better.
The trade nights I've been to once, but they're a little tougher for me because me in my lane. How many people are out there displaying or even thought to brought Couturier cards? The thing is, that part of the trade night is you have to get rid of something. Which I I can trade them my cash.
Sure. Yeah,
but
exactly.
I've always but then I'm always like, but if I need this cash for the show tomorrow, so but that's cool. That's cool. I've walked the floor. I did stuff like that at the National. It was fun watching my buddies. But dude, don't go to a trade night at the National if you're in the hockey cards, dude. Unless it's specific to hockey, unless it's like Grant from GP Sports. He hosts a trade night. Somebody the hockey related, great, but. I was bored, but I would just watch my buddies sell a Jordan rookie they had together.
Oh wow! Jeez.
But let's see here. Did you? So we talked about the National. We've been going to those shows. Quick question too. I paused in my notes because Triple Diamond, I bought from them on eBay quite a few times.
Yeah.
And even took advantage of the one option with the local pickup. I had
sure.
Because it saved me money on it saved me like $4, but I was like, Louis,
it's
drive by and pick it up for me.
Yep. So, they're so when I go to Louis' house about once a month, we have the watch party and his son and his son's friend are now like going to Triple Diamond to buy boxes to come back and rip when we so we've created 2 new D-gens, but Triple Diamond is Triple Diamond and Real Sports are kind of the 2 big hobby shops in Minnesota, and Real Sports is by me and Triple Diamond's down south by Louis and Josh. So they're kind of the dominant LCSs in Minnesota. So
they do a good job on eBay. I mean, they have good stuff, and there was a trusted seller for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how I kind of connect those dots one time with the guys. And I'm like, I swear I bought something from those guys before. So, so let's because you and I, we're talking about card shows, and you and I we met for the first time at the Expo. Was that two Expos, maybe 3, because I skipped the spring one this past year.
It was fall
November 2024, the first RIP party.
Yeah, because I went to the National for the first time in 2023, and then I met Josh and Troy at a small card show in Minnesota.
Right.
Josh told me about Expo, and I'm like, what? So 2023 was my first Expo, but I didn't know any of you guys, but I think it was the Slab Sharks hangout area is where we first, because you could, it was just a cool place to chill out and talk.
Yeah, where they were at. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, when they had that studio there where they were doing those interviews and whatnot. That was really cool. And I remember, that's where we first met. And shoot, I had a question about Expo so your first Expo, probably the same as mine. You were probably your eyes wide open, jaw dragging on the floor, just Do you make any fun or big purchases? I'm trying to remember. I can barely remember my own, so I'm sorry, I'm not going to remember yours.
Yeah.
But remember your first, like, you're like, oh my gosh, I got this at the expo.
Yeah, I was still not focused on
Okay.
and it's funny because I went to the Jeremy Lee's event. Like Josh is like, you got to go. It's cool to mingle and network. So I'm like, okay, so I'm by myself because my son and Nick, his business partner at the time, they're coworkers now. They both work at the auction house company, so that they weren't coming in until late Thursday night. So I'm by myself all day Thursday. So I get in Thursday morning, go through customs, go to the trade show hall. It's not open for an hour, so I went and grabbed a sandwich, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a typical trade show. And I think I walked in, I literally I could pull up the text, and I sent the text to the guys. I'm like, holy S, I'm overwhelmed. And I had been there for 5 minutes, and they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I just took video of one row, and they're like, holy crap, because we had never seen it before. So I'm like, so long story short, in the throes of breaking, I had a lot of stuff to sell. So I sold a lot of stuff to Hit Parade, got a stack of cash. And that night at the event, Josh was like, well, what's your collecting theme? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to collect the Hughes brothers. So I'm like, I'm going to go look for Jack and Quinn. Just something cool. I got to focus on something. So I'd picked up a stature rookie auto of both of them on the Friday. So I sold on Thursday, shopped, did my walkthrough of all the rows, trying to, and not knowing then I should have bought what I wanted when I saw it, because the next day most of it was gone, because that was the fall that Jack Hughes blew up and like his cards disappeared. So I did end up getting a stature auto of both of them, and that's all I can remember were those two. I dollar binned, value boxed. I picked up a bunch of wild stuff, like Black Border, the O-Pee-Chee Black Border. I love those out of 100, just random wild players for a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. But it was more like, holy crap, this is bigger than I would have ever expected. I'm overwhelmed. And so I think it affected me a little bit to the point where I didn't do a lot of buying the first time at all. It was more of the experience, seeing
paralysis from overanalysis, totally. Right? You're like, oh my gosh, yeah,
totally.
Yep. So how do you, as far as being a collector and being informed, like how do you keep up with trends in the market and and what's out there and what's going on in this day and age?
I watch a ton of content at night.
Yeah.
My wife always laughs at me. She's like, do you ever watch anything on TV? I'm like, no. I said, one, I like network TV. The comedies don't interest me. They're like, how many NCIS shows do we really need? I mean, so
I mean, Chicago this, Chicago
exactly.
That. Yeah.
Austin 911, Chicago 911. Like I'll go on YouTube and I've got 50 or 60 content creators, and if I see the little dot that there's something new, I'll go watch. And it's 9 times out of 10 it isn't hockey related, but it's hobby related. So sure. Like I'll watch Jeremy's show. Obviously I watch all the Gong Show content. That's a given. Instagram, like I follow a lot of influencers, and some of them are really not great at influencing. I don't like the negative, always the negative stuff, and there's a lot that just focus on that. So I've kind of weeded those out of my collect, not my collection, my selection of guys I follow. But just watching a lot of content, it's interesting to see how other people collect, and like PC showcases and what's hot, other sports. I'm not a baseball guy. I know nothing about baseball. Couldn't tell you, other than Aaron Judge and Ohtani. Those are the 2 big names I know. But seeing like, oh, this prospect's due to come up, and it's kind of interesting to see like the prospecting side of it. For a sport like baseball, I could never do, because I mean those guys are holding on to cards for 4 or 5 years, and stuff. But it's interesting to learn from. So yeah, YouTube and Instagram, a lot of that. Obviously reading the Discord and just stories, things people are bringing up. I'm on I think 4 hockey card Discords now. The Gong Show. No. Breezy's got one. John High-Gloss, he created his own Discord. So there's just interesting perspective from other people. Outside of our little niche group.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. Yeah. I'll have to get over there. I forgot. I remember that John had one. I'll have to take a look at that. So.
Yeah.
So there's another. Do you think that the market today, or the hobby today, is more about passion, or do you think it's more trending towards profit these days?
I think it's money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm more biased about not. I mean, hockey. You're starting to see like when Josh puts out like the top, the top new sales, on
Mhm.
Tuesday, or the top 5 sales, and or the post where a new record is set. Like you're starting to see hockey numbers climb, but not like football and basketball, which are astronomical. And
Mhm.
I question if there's even collectors in that hobby, or if it's just all get the quick hit,
Mhm.
sell a card for 70, $80,000. I mean, but I mentioned my son works for Alden. He's consigning cards left and right from professional athletes that are bored, and they go out and just buy boxes and cases full of cards. They don't even know what they have, and they don't know how to sell them. So now they're selling cards for 40, 50, $60,000 that they were just sitting in a shoebox because they didn't know what they had. And it just doesn't feel like it feels like we're the minority a little bit. Like hockey seems to be more collector based, but you're starting to see those prices like the Celebrini Cup, cup patch autos going for 40, 50, $60,000, and you're like, ouch. you know,
Mhm.
it's cool, but it's scary, at the
Yeah.
same time. So
No, it is, and I think it's ironic because of Bedard not having that big splash.
yeah,
Celebrini had this faster pace. Um, poor Bedard, everything seemed to fall on his shoulders his
yeah,
rookie year. But with Celebrini's year, you had him, you had Mitchkov, who's the other one? Was Hudson there too?
Jimmy shakes. Yeah, yeah,
So those guys all kind of spread it out. So it was kind of probably like this good trending storm, like the hype of Bedard,
yeah,
and then the following year you had these three guys that carried the hype, and they were doing this. They were the points chase for them, and then Celebrini continuing it this
yeah,
year. Um, yeah, I think it's driving the hype and But you're right. I don't disagree with you. I think it's passion for those collectors, but the profit portion of it, I think, is driving things right now, and it's ridiculous as far as
yeah,
what numbers for cards are going for. So
exactly.
um, now, so yeah, who would you say? Because yeah, you're all over the place. Not you're not all over, but you have specific players. But
Hmm.
Kaprizov, is he kind of like your guy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
and you also got. I don't want to. I remember it. Being a Minnesota alumni fan. Uh, your Matthew Nyes experience at
yeah,
the Expo, getting that Gophers jersey signed
yeah.
by him.
That was cool.
Yeah,
That was
we
fun.
had
Yeah,
him.
it was funny because Thorson was like 10 people in front of me, and he's wearing his North Dakota Fighting Sioux jersey.
Mhm.
And I hadn't met him in person yet. So I'm standing there with my Gopher jersey, and I just kind of look over. I'm like, Kevin? And he's like, yep. And so we started chatting because, the queue, we
Mhm.
were kind of like every time we'd line up with each other, in the queue, we'd
Yep.
keep chatting. And he said, well, I'm going to say something to him about the Sioux. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. And I had bought the inscription add-on,
Mhm.
it's because I wanted the jersey inscribed. So we got to the front, and the guy said, what do you want? And I'm standing there, and I just kind of looking, because he was like the whole row was kind of geek, because they're like, is that a junior hockey jersey? I'm like, no, it's his Gopher, his college jersey. And like, we've never seen that. We didn't even know he wore 89. It was all Maple Leafs fans with
Yeah.
Maple Leafs jerseys, and even the guys running the booth, they're like, this is amazing. So I put it down, and he says, what do you want to inscribe? And I said, can you do screw the Sioux? And he looks for a second, he kind of looks up, and he goes, I probably shouldn't. I'm like, okay. So I just had him do Gophers, because I wanted to rub it in a little bit to Thorson, but
Oh, that's funny.
all in good fun. Like Gophers and Fighting Sioux were huge rivals when
Yep.
the WCHA was around. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, he was super excited to sign a jersey. He's like, I haven't seen one of these in a few years, and the guy authenticated, and he was like, this is the greatest jersey. So it was kind of a fun experience to have, and fits the man cave.
That's perfect. Yep, there you go. It's funny. I had a similar, it's football, but so in my town where I live in Reading, PA area, Chad Henne, who was a quarterback in the NFL, started for Dolphins for a bit and he became a very, very serviceable backup, and he stepped up for the Chiefs. So most people remember him filling in for the Chiefs when Mahomes went down during the playoff games. But anyway, he's a local celebrity star here, and I had the opportunity, and I was a Michigan fan. So he was starting quarterback for there for 4 years. So that's where I kind of was like, I loved him as a player. But anyway, I met him at a golf function, and I bought a genuine college football to have him sign. And they're a little more orange than the NFL balls. They're darker brown. And I remember bringing it. And he's like, "Whoa, I haven't seen one of these in forever." He goes, "The old orange ball." So it was kind of cool giving that experience to that player, seeing something from their past. So that's pretty cool that you shared that, had that for Nice. All right, after the little technical glitch there, but so anyway, that was weird. So, Tori, do you have like a favorite? Like I said, maybe it's nostalgic, or I don't care what reason it is. But do you have a favorite card design from a particular set or a particular year that you always resonates with you?
Particular year, no, I love platinum. I brought that up. Like I love the
Hmm.
color. The emerald surge, the bioluminescence, the seismic gold. I love that. So I mean, from year to year, um 21, 22 sucked because the centering was horrible on that year. So I'm not a fan of that. But the 22 through current platinum, even though they changed the designs a little bit, the color are amazing. Other than the seismic gold in 2022, which looks more like seismic brown, it just still a cool card. But the seismic gold, I mean, they just pop, and I love the looks of those those color parallels in platinum. So that's kind of what's drawn me to platinum,
Okay.
and over the years. So
Yeah, I
but
agree with you about the seismic. I don't know why they
yeah,
touched it and changed it. I have
I
no
don't know.
idea. I'm sure they heard enough
I'm sure.
about that because they went right back to the regular
Right.
gold.
They did it right. Yeah, after that. Yeah.
So, and here's interesting thing. So, truth be told, I was never truly into the platinum initially because I always thought the photos were a little more grainy because
Mhm.
of the tech in the card, right?
Yeah.
So that always didn't appeal to me as much. But then I found like Allure did a better job of it, but I hated because the cards were always curved.
Yeah.
Right? They had that curve to them.
Yep. The bow.
Um,
Yeah.
but since you like the golds, do you like the do you have any appeal to the Allure like the gold glitter bomb and those
Yeah.
types of things on those? Yeah,
Yeah. I
they're
like the
pretty
gold
cool.
glitter bomb.
Mhm.
Some of the parallels in sharp prints, like the hypnosis, I really loved. I can't remember what year that was, maybe 23.
Yeah.
The hypnosis, they're just for the price you're paying to buy into a box of Allure or even buy on the secondary market, like the value is so, and the cards look great.
Yeah.
Even the red, I don't know if they call them red rainbow.
I forget.
They're like one out of every five packs, low end, but they look cool. Like the tech on it and the special effects, just make it pop. And maybe that's what draws me in, with the seismic gold, all the little flashy, when
Mhm.
it hits the light right, it's you get the effects, or cosmic, like some of the little
Yep.
black holes and stuff that pop
Yeah.
when you get the right light. It's just I kind of appreciate that, over just a base card that's, oh, this is the one out of 99, this is the one out of 49. Like there's, okay, yeah, you might have changed, like some accent colors, but the platinum it just all pops for me. So that's why I become kind of a platinum guy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I get like I said, everybody loves those. We are attracted to things in shiny. We're
Yep.
like fish and cats. That's why I always make the joke. The hobby is full of fish and cats. That's
Yep.
literally it. Like something shiny and catches your eye, let me
Yep.
go after that.
There you go. Yeah.
So if you could design your own hockey card, like I said, if Billy Cilio said, Tori, come on in, design a card, would you do something similar like that, or do you have something in mind where you might design a card in a way?
It would probably
Have
be
you thought of
similar.
that?
It would probably be similar. I mean,
Mhm.
it's, having started in football, like the optic football kind of does the same. I always kind of equate optic, Donruss optic to platinum, kind of the same. Here's our parallels are very specific color wise. Like, the red is always this, the green is always this, the orange is always this. It just, from a mentality standpoint, even if you buy a box and get a crap auto, you might get a great parallel. And if they're shiny, it wears down, breaks down the woe is me, this sucked, I got skunked. If you get an out of 25 or a out of 50 card of a guy UPC, or like a McDavid, or somebody, you're like, oh, you know what, Crosby gold, that looks awesome. I'm okay. I didn't do well in the box, but this one made me happy. So
Mhm.
I'd probably kind of stay with the same color themes for parallels, just trying to make them stand out a little bit more.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I'd change a whole lot, to be honest. I think like the bioluminescence, out of 5, this was it 23, 24, or was it 24?
24, 25.
Yeah, first year they did that. Those are unreal. When you have one in hand, they're so cool looking.
Yeah, I've never held one in hand yet, so
Yeah, I got a Jamie Benn, who I can't stand, out of a box. So sold it immediately, like to a collector, PC person, like an out of 5 card with that kind of effect on it. I'd love to get a Kaprizov. I've seen a few. They're way out of the price range I'd be willing to pay, but super cool looking at the end of the day. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So let's have a little bit of fun. Let's, I mean, not that we haven't, but
right.
So, and maybe you touched on this before, but and I don't want to answer for you. So if you could have any hockey card in existence, regardless of price, so that's always a limiting factor sometimes. If you could pick any card in existence, vintage, current, modern, ultra modern, like if you get any card, what would you want to have?
Other than the Gretzky, I'd probably want like a higher grade Bobby Orr rookie.
Okay.
Like that TV set, grainy, just kind of old school, I mean, because and here's why, like all the other modern cards, there's thousands of them that you could pick from. Which do you pick? That's a more defined, like that's iconic, in the hobby, like a kind of like the Gretzky. Like you look at that and that's a Gretzky rookie. You don't have to think twice, just like the Bobby Orr. I mean, if I could get like an 8, 9, if there was a 10, sure, for free, I all day long. But so that's the kind of the dream, hit the Powerball, you go buy a card like that. I think it'd be cool to have just because there's not a ton out there. There's a ton out there, but I'm talking higher grade. It'd be cool to have that in the PC versus
high grade Bobby Orr rookie.
Yeah.
It's nice you talked about that. Like I think that's interesting is. We all get those iconic cards, like this. You could take any iconic sports card, any sport, right? And you could blur out you can blur the name and blur the face and blur this, that. But if you just saw it from a far distance, there's so many cards in this hobby that you could just kind of like, I know what that one is. You can see it from, across the aisle, right, and over somebody's shoulder, you'd be like, oh, there's a Bobby Orr rookie over there, or there's a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, or there's a Pete Rose rookie over there.
Jordan,
there's a Walter Payton. There's so these iconic ones, and it's so the art pieces and the vintageness and the history of it certainly resonates. So that's pretty cool. I like hearing that.
Yeah.
So like I said, if you were to have a crossover, and like I said, maybe this is a stupid question. I apologize. You're the first one. I'm trying to come up with some fun questions. So if you were to have like a non-hockey person, it could be a celebrity or whatever, that you would insert into a set for some sort of reason. Into a set of hockey cards for whatever purpose. So I would equate this, and the only one I'm gonna say you can't choose Ralph Macchio and Islanders because they've done it before.
Sure. Yeah.
Years ago. But I tease my buddy about that one all the time. So a little Easter egg for my friend.
Right.
Anyway, if you could put like a non-hockey person, it could be anything, into like a hockey card set or whatever, who would you choose? Could you think of somebody to choose?
I had to think about it a little bit when I read that, and I'm not big into like the pop culture stuff. Like I just don't follow it, but I like the Hughes brothers. I like Jack Hughes. And he started apparently dating some pop singer named Tate McRae, who's a Canadian. And so she's got hockey background. So it'd be kind of cool to see like a, not a girlfriend set, but like a celebrity set for the teams, like who's the biggest in Minnesota. The actor Josh Duhamel, who he was on like Vegas, he's been in movies and stuff. He's a huge Viking fan. He's from North Dakota, but he's a huge Viking fan. So having like a celebrity set, as an insert, it would be kind of cool. So, like the Tate McRae, big pop singer, dating a New Jersey Devil, or in baseball, like Livy Dunn being in a Pittsburgh, Pirates,
Sure.
That kind of mentality. Would it be for me? Probably not, but I could see that. I could see that being kind of cool for some people who aren't into the sport, going, I like this singer and she's on a New Jersey Devil. So maybe it brings some more people into the hobby. I don't know.
No, you're right. I like that. Because what's her name? Jenna Fisher. She's a big blues fan, right?
Yeah.
I think she's a blues fan, and her and oh God, I forget his name from The Office. Played Jim Halpert. God. Anyway, I think he's a Bruins fan.
Yep.
And so is her fiance from the show before she was with Jim. And I remember them. It was funny watching them post videos like Halpert and Roy, her ex, posting videos to her
Right,
during
right.
the playoffs. So that's pretty good. That's
Yeah,
on the fly. That's a good
yeah.
answer. That's a good answer. So, let me ask you this: if hockey cards kind of became like the world currency, which card in your collection do you think would make you take that big vacation to Bora Bora? Which would be your like I know I can do this.
It'd probably be the McDavid RPA.
McDavid, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's. I mean, value wise, and I
Yeah,
don't track value. Like I
sure.
don't go and comp my cards all the time. I probably should for insurance reasons, but I haven't.
Okay.
I think that one, if I wanted to take a nice trip, I could sell that and take a nice trip.
There you go.
You know,
Now,
but
would you still
my mentality is, can I ever get it back if I wanted
yeah.
it back? So that's
I
my
was gonna
problem.
say, now would you still like I say the day that when it becomes the world currency, would you try to and the family's nagging you, they're like, Dad, can we go to Bora Bora? Would you
Yeah,
try to talk them out of it because you want to keep the card, or would you take the
probably.
trip?
Yeah, probably. Or I'd look at some of the cards on the the lower, not lower end value wise, but lower end of my, like, I love them too much. These I could let go, and maybe we go to Hawaii instead of Bora Bora, or La Jolla,
There you go.
California instead. But yeah, at some point, I think just like anything, there'll be a day where I don't collect anymore, and
Mhm.
hopefully it's not anytime soon. Obviously, I love the hobby now, but when I'm 80 or 90 years old, am I going to be into collecting cards? Probably not.
Yeah.
Will I have cards? Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe it's then, maybe it's college, scholarships for the grandkids, or, a family trip somewhere, down the road, funds that. So, it's wide
Cool.
open.
Good. So I guess last one, if you could meet a player,
Mhm.
that's from your personal collection, like, who would that be, and would you bring any item or a card to get signed?
You know what, there's not, and I'm not, it's one of these things, kind of like, you see so much of them now on social media. Like, I don't know what I'd, I don't know what kind of interaction I'd have.
Mhm.
It was cool meeting Nyes, and having the 30 or 40 seconds, getting a picture with them, getting to, chat up the Gophers for a brief second. That was
Mhm.
fun. It depends on the scenario. Is it, hey, you're going to dinner with Kirill Kaprizov? Yeah, I'd have 1,000 questions for him. He's goofy, he's funny, like the broken English helps, kind of with the comedy of it all. I mean,
And the
he
charm.
seems like a big kid, so it'd be
Yeah.
kind of fun to hang with him a little bit. I'd love to go back in time with some of the, like Madonna, like back when the North Stars were here, and pick his brain on on the move to Dallas.
Mhm.
I worked for the North Stars then, so I have a little bit more knowledge of what actually happened beyond the attendance, and he shifted really quickly to hating Minnesota as soon as they got to Dallas, and I'm sure that was the spin, that's the marketing spin of it all.
Yeah.
But now he's like a player development president for the Wild. He's like a consultant. So I mean, he's kind of back in Minnesota's good graces. But I'd like to just pick his brain and see what were they actually telling you? Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
what was the spin they were giving you? Because you hear so many stories. But even some of the older players, like talking to Marcel Dion was the best, like may have been the highlight of the expo for me. When Andrew and Eric and I, we hung out there for 20, 30 minutes until he finally was like, I need to eat. You guys need to go. So, but he was awesome. Like, just talking to somebody with that kind of knowledge, and just the willingness to like chat like we knew each other for 100 years was super cool. So maybe some of the Hall of Famers, just kind of get an inside glimpse into what was hockey like in the 60s and 70s. That'd be kind of interesting to
Yeah,
hear.
I love hearing old stories. So I
Yeah,
agree. I would it'd be selective on who I'd bring cards to, because I do that stuff with Coots now when I go to
sure.
the shows and whatnot. But yeah, having an experience with a player, or just hearing some of the stories is pretty cool. I had the same type of thing I shared with you about Marcel.
Yeah.
And he's hammering the hot dog. He's just walking by and I'm like, oh, hey, Mr. Dion. He's just like, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool.
Oh, it's so funny. So, well, this has been fun. Before we close out
Yeah.
and we shift over, if there is one piece of advice that you could give to someone who's just starting out in hockey card collecting, is there something you would share with them, or would there be a mistake you'd have them try to avoid, or what would you do there? What would you
I mean,
recommend?
I think for me, the like becoming focused on a collect, like I've got my Kaprizovs, I've got my Gopher, alumni, my Hall of Fame collection. Then I have that little sub PC of like color match Kaprizov green, green only cards. Just find what works for you, and don't let the noise of what others are doing, because everyone collects differently. You've got people who can spend thousands of dollars a week and get every card they want, and I think sometimes you see that on Instagram. And Josh brought it up, like, can that negatively impact people who are new to the hobby and go, crap, I can't afford $2,000 cards every week? Well, you don't have to. Like, start small, start with what you can afford. Build your way up. Save. Put aside some money. The Marcel Manor guys we chat on text a lot, and one of them's got a new PC he's working on to where he's not going to rip any boxes until April. So he's going to, anytime he gets the urge to rip, he's going to put that money in a war chest to buy boxes he can rip in April, to chase some of the stuff he's trying to chase. So maybe it's just figure out what works for you financially and PC wise, and don't let the noise, complicate things, because it's noisy.
Yeah, it's solid advice, dude. It's solid advice. It's tough. I agree with you. So I don't want to take away from any of that, but yeah, you're preaching to the choir there. It takes the one thing too. I think I would add to the only thing I would add is have some patience, right? Because the only thing that you can do to find out what type of collector you are is you need time.
Yep.
So you're going to make the mistakes. I think that's the other thing, but just don't make the expensive mistakes.
Right. Exactly.
I remember I started out, I tried to get into football too, getting back into things, and I was going to make some money. I was going to flip football cards, Tory. And I was going to flip football cards to pay for hockey cards.
Same.
And what did I do? I didn't buy any quarterbacks.
Yep.
I bought a Dalvin Cook 9 and Beckett 9.5, and I was like, I'm going to make so much money. He's one of the hottest running backs going in the league right now. I know. I gave it to Troy or Josh. I'm like, here you guys go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think, everything is to block out the noise, find your way. That's awesome advice. Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your passion and who you are. I really appreciate it. It's really great to know and hear. It's very similar, and I think hopefully it resonates with some other people that hey, I'm like that. So help make our community greater. So now, before we sign off, it's that time at the end of the show where we have to do the PC spotlight. So,
all right.
We talked about some of it. So, Tory, you're the guest, so I'll let you go first to share some of your PC cards, because I only got one thing.
Okay, I've got like 5 or 6. So some of it's just recent stuff, but I'll start with this. I know, just random football player, right? Yeah. Look at the name.
Holy moly! Hang on, let me. Oh, I got to figure out how to do this now. I got to do.
Oh, is it reversed? There you go.
I gotta. Nope, that's not it. Oh, darn it! Hang on a second. There we go. Oh, Olsen, Tory Olsen.
So Tory Taylor is the punter for the Bears.
Yeah,
that's my middle name. So
that's funny.
So it's kind of become like a PC card, just as a joke. Like I finally have a card, So, so platinum, and this is gonna hurt a little bit, Neil.
Mm-hmm.
So my family bought me a box of 24-25 platinum for Christmas, and the first big hit I got was Cutter Gauthier mixed media, the short print.
Yeah.
The cool thing was right behind it.
Yeah.
Macklin Celebrini.
So there you
go. They kind of come in pairs, because ironically my family bought me a box of 23-24 for my birthday, because my birthday's 5 days later. So I get a Connor Bedard Pond hockey case hit.
Sweet.
Right behind it was a Matthew Nyes auto. So perfect, like PC alley right there.
Dude. Those are some boxes, dude.
It was, so I was on a hot streak, and I'm like, I need to stop, because I'll never match that again.
Yeah, you were on a heater for sure.
Yeah. This is just kind of a cool, like, it's a PMG of Dino, but you can just see like the background.
Yeah, you can see the designs, the logos there.
Yeah, different than any other PMG I saw. And I think I saw that on when the boys were up in Saskatoon and Grant was doing his repack. He had one of these in there, and I'm like, I didn't know it existed, so I went and bought one that night. Because I'm like, these are just too cool.
Yeah, good old Dino. I love Dino.
Yeah. Then that's my acetate Future Watch. I just picked that up a couple weeks ago, and this one was just kind of cool. I got it from a guy at the shop from Ingrained Icons, Paul Coffey. But look at that stick. like made in
Oh,
Canada right on it, you know, like, and
yeah.
it's not numbered. It's
No, the
$20
good old
card.
plain brown Sherwood.
Yeah, and it's beat up, like it's
Yep.
all, you know, hacked on. Like it just screams like 80s and 90s hockey to me. So
I love that.
yeah,
Those are
so that's
awesome.
mine.
That's awesome. All right, well, let me switch spots. I mean,
Yeah.
mine. Hang on, let me do that. Do that. Hey, look at that! I figured it
Yeah.
out. That's the first time I've done that. I got one. I mean, is it one or is it 9? Am I showing one thing at once? Is it one thing? Or am I showing 9 things at once? So I put it on my Instagram because this was my this is probably I got some great stuff at Expo. So but I got duplicate 2 things to talk about following in pairs. I completed my nameplate that I was chasing, the Panini nameplate of Coots. I completed it this year with the help of a friend. And I won't. The only reason I'm not saying who or what is I don't know if they want to advertise, but they helped facilitate me getting the remaining content that I needed. And this frame
Awesome.
is let me slide back.
We are.
I also got the frame at Expo, which from Frame
Yeah.
Slabs.
That's so cool.
I completed all these, got them. I had 6. I needed 3 more. I got that, and then, like I said, I was at going to the Expo, and I've become friendly with the guy at Frame Slabs. I've done, and I've got 3 of them up here, and
yeah,
I went to stop by to see him. We were literally just shooting the shit, honestly, just talking, and I think he asked, he's like, "Hey, did you get anything cool at the show?" That type of thing. And I should have seen through it. Now I do. I was teasing Anthony. I was like, and I said, "Oh, my favorite thing that I got was I completed this nameplate." He goes, "Oh," and he says, "Let me show you something." And he's going through his phone, and we're talking, just catching up. I like the guy. He's a funny guy. He's great to talk to. They do amazing stuff, and I can't promote these more because they're awesome. But then he goes, "Take a look at this," and he shows me a picture, or he texted it to me, of this same thing for Jason Robertson that he did for Sunday.
Oh, sure.
And I was just like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, take my money.
Exactly. I was like that credit card, just throwing money up in the So got this done, and it's not up yet because I'm waiting for when my son is done high school hockey this year. He's a senior. We have like a little front room in the front of the house. It's called the library when you did the house layout, but it's just his hockey room, and for him to break out his gear so it doesn't stink. And there's a cat tree. Well, I'm going to take that room over, make it my new studio, my office eventually. So
it'll look good.
It'll go up on the wall there with my stick and other stuff. So yeah, there's my little PC.
And you got me hooked on those displays. So
yeah, I know you have 2, right? You have Matthew.
3.
No, not 3. There you go, 3.
Yeah.
Got to get more.
Yeah, I have the Kaprizov, I have Matthews and Jack Hughes, and I need more now. So because we're kind of doing the same. Like our basement hasn't been updated in a while, like the man cave. Like it's very hockey themed, but I want to put more cards up. Like I want to get a wall display to put some of the one touch and slabs in, and so we're working on that. So hopefully I'll get some more. So
yeah, no, I can't wait. I can't wait for it to be. I want to be done, but I got that, and then I got rid of my big dining room set, so I got to figure out what I'm doing there, and we're kicking around. Maybe I get to turn it into a pub. I don't know.
Yeah,
my wife said the word, so we'll see. But I might turn that. Well, we'll see. But anyway. Awesome. Well, thank you, Tory, for coming in and spending the a morning with me and doing an episode with me. I really appreciate it. So I hope you enjoyed it.
It was fun. Love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tory, and thank you everyone for watching or listening. Remember, you can catch new episodes here on Discord. Just look for the Clover emoji behind the bench channel. New episodes drop on Tuesdays. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Irish Flyers Collector. You can also follow Tory, right? Are you at MNSportsCardJunky? Yep, at MNSportsCardJunky on both Instagram and Discord.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
Exactly.
And thank you very much, everybody, for taking time out of your day to watch. I appreciate it and hope you enjoyed it. Just remember, keep chasing those cards. And until next time, I'm Neil, Irish Flyers Collector, and he's Tory, Minnesota Sports Card Junkie, and you've been Behind the Bench.